Hello, I've done it. I have now read all 13 books on this year's book along list, and Trust by Hernan Diaz was my final read. Now, this is a book that, if it hadn't have been for the fact that it was on the long list, I wouldn't have picked up, because it's about Wall Street, it's about finance, it's about the 1929 Wall Street crash. Something that just would not interest me, but it's on the long list, so I read it, and what a surprise. It's in 4 parts, and the first part we start with a novel within a novel, and it's a novel about Benjamin Rask and his wife. Now, Rask is a financier. He plays the markets on Wall Street, and in the 1929 crash he made an absolute killing. The book is about, the novel within the novel is about Rask and his life and his wife, because they were a couple that didn't put themselves out, so there was a lot of speculation about them, and so the novel is about Rask and his wife and their life. The second part, the second section, is a draft autobiography. There's sort of pieces of an autobiography that Andrew Bevel is writing about himself. Bevel is a financier on Wall Street who made a killing in the 1929 crash. So you can see the link between Bevel and the guy in the novel. And he comes across as very full of ego. And that is the second part. The third part is a memoir by a young woman called Ida, who was hired by Bevel to write his biography. And then the fourth part is part of a diary written by Bevel's late wife. So you have 4 very different sections, 4 very different voices. And you can see as you read that the Bevels were the Rasks in the novel. So what you also see is that there's a blending of fact and fiction, because you're not quite sure which is fact and which is fiction. Because particularly when it comes to the wife, Bevel's wife, you have 4 very different versions of her. You have the wife, Rask's wife, in the novel. You have Bevel's description of his wife in this autobiography that he started writing himself. You've got Ida's perception of her from what Bevel says and from what she can see around her in the house. And then you've got the diary written supposedly by Bevel's wife. So you have 4 very different versions of this woman, and you have 4 very different versions of Bevel. And it's, which version do you trust? It's very cleverly done. Because when you read the novel, the first part, it doesn't actually prepare you for what you're reading from the rest of it. You sort of left wondering what this is all about. And then you piece it together as you go through the book. Very cleverly done. For me, there was a lot about finance, a lot about trading and selling long, buying short, futures, all sorts of things that just did not interest me. I haven't got that sort of brain where I'm on to stock market trading and stuff like that. So I found those bits almost boring. I was more drawn into the story of the wife. And for me, parts 3 and 4 were stronger than parts 1 and 2. But that's my personal opinion. So I've now finished the book along list. Not sure what I'm going to be reading next. I'm going to have to go to the library and see what I can pick up, and so be prepared for some very random videos coming up of very random books. So happy reading, take care, bye.